What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, damn, like, why him? First of all, he's like a good player. I liked the kind of fearlessness he plays with, and he sounds like someone you could root for, honestly. But then I have to remember not to have high expectations for players and their politics. Welcome to By Better Means. I'm your host, Peter Huynh. If you haven't heard already, Jaxson, the starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants, had introduced President Donald Trump at a rally recently. I just want to know where the shut up and dribble crowd is, and I wonder if they have any issue with this. Is it that sports and politics don't mix, or they just don't like hearing someone they don't agree with? Now, I mean, I don't really care what Jaxson just did, and I'm not even that surprised, to be honest. I mean, if you just look at him, dude, he just looks so MAGA coded, you know what I mean? And of course, all the Giants fans showed their disgust, and I honestly get it. You just voted for a socialist to be your mayor, but you're stuck rooting for a Trumper to be the leader of your franchise. And anytime an athlete like Jaxson does something remotely political, will surely generate a buzz and some sort of backlash on social media. But it doesn't end there, because his teammate Abdul Carter, who by the way was drafted with Dart in the same draft class, was really shocked to hear this. He goes on X and he says, "Thought this shit was AI. What are we doing, man?" And this is when MAGA came out of the woodwork. If you're critically online like me, you're gonna see comments along the lines of, Carter is a crybaby. Why is he mad at someone's opinion? He shouldn't have brought it up to the media. He's hurting the team. And it's NPC takes like these that are just so funny to me. But there is one reaction that did catch my eye a little bit. This guy is Boomer Esiason, and he's a former NFL analyst on CBS. I guess he's now a host on this New York sports radio show. But he had something to say about Abdul Carter. Let's just see what he says.
This was a real error on the part of Abdul Carter, not on the part of Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart was asked to do something to introduce the President of the United States. How many people get an opportunity to do something like that, regardless of who the president is? You may have hated Barack Obama. You may have hated Joe Biden. And some guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like those presidents, just like other guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like President Trump.
Okay, it's just like so weird. Like, does it not matter who the sitting president is? I just hate how some people like defer to the title of president just cause, regardless of what kind of person they are and like what kind of things they've done to this country. And like, for the record, all presidents aren't shit. But we gotta stop with this like false equivalency, because Donald Trump is not even comparable to like Barack Obama or Joe Biden. And I don't even like those people.
But to put this out like a child on social media is ridiculous. And then when I heard, we spoke man to man. Yeah, there was only one man on that call, and that was Jaxson Dart. You were a man who was late to meetings. You were a man who didn't live up to your draft.
Okay, Boomer. He's not a real man for what? Speaking out against a historically unpopular president? I just like hate it when these people act like they have no idea how much damage Trump has done to this country. Yeah, let's just ignore like what's going on in the real world. And with all these other reactions to Abdul Carter of like, it's just his opinion, bro, or it's just his right to free speech, is this centrist framework that favors neutrality and passivity in this super crazy political time that we simply cannot ignore. Like, it's so undeniable now what kind of damage Trump has done so far in office. Let's just start with like the Iran war that he himself started, by the way, bombing little girls' schools, and in effect has raised our gas prices and has wasted tens of billions of dollars of our taxpayer revenue. And ICE has pretty much taken innocent legal immigrants into camps where they're overcrowded and not fed, without medication, and so on. And it's reported that 40-something people have died in custody. And that's not to mention the blatant murders of Renee Good and Alex Peretti, which was shot in 4K. And he's protecting pedophiles in the Epstein files, let alone his name is on it like a million times. And like, if I see someone align with those things, then yeah, I'm going to have a problem with it. So yeah, I thought Abdul Carter stood on business, man. I really like what he said afterwards.
So first off, I want to say that some things are bigger than football, and this is one of those things. Jaxson is one of our leaders. He's the face of our franchise. He not only represents himself and what he does, but he represents all of us. And that goes for anybody who wears a Giants uniform. But if he chooses to align himself with a man like President Trump, it's my responsibility, based on what I believe and what I stand on, to not only show my teammates that I'm against that, but to show the world. And that doesn't mean that we have to spread hate. It doesn't mean that me and Jaxson hate each other or we have beef. I sit next to Jaxson every day, every team meeting. We close, we talk. We just, as long as we make sure we got the same goal as a team and our goals align, which they do.
Yeah, you get the idea, but that was really good by him. So yeah, guys, what's going on politically in this world is just so crazy not to discuss. And I really hope this kind of team drama allows more and more players to confront the reality of Trump's America and creates more productive discussion and reality checks for the players on that team. Because, I'm not sure if football players, given that they're like millionaires, are feeling like the economic pressures, for example, that we face and are as tapped into what's going on, like the Iran war or like the genocide going on in Gaza. Now, do I think this will cause a rift in the locker room? I'm not sure, but my guess would be probably not. At the very least, if I'm anti-Trump, I'm probably not going to want to be like buddy-buddy with someone like Dart, but we would still maintain a cordial working relationship because at the end of the day, it's just a job and coworkers are just your coworkers, right? But I don't think you can be friends with someone that has such different values than you. I will say though, if the Giants go on to have a poor season and Dart is more or less the reason they lose, or he even just has a single loss with multiple picks, boy, he's going to get clowned on social media. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I'll reiterate again, it's a crazy world out there, y'all. Shout out to Abdul Carter. We need more people with a platform such as his to speak up against this corrupt, cruel administration.